Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode here on the Hermitpack modded Minecraft server. I've had a couple of days off for the Christmas holidays, and I don't feel rusty at all. I feel excited to get back into recording. Hi, you, turn around, say hello. We're going to be working with sheep today. Oh, that's right, because we're going to build a mini game. I decided that we would take a break from working on our base and focus on doing something different. And I had a little idea for a minigame. It involves these ender shears, which you can use at long range. Long range being... Wow, that's not what I expected to happen. Like that. Maybe you do need to be a little bit closer. That is something I'm going to have to consider. Hi. It put the stack in my hand, but it didn't put it in the inventory. Bam, there we go. And you can see the sheep has successfully been sheared from a long distance. When you are done using this though, the shears will actually disappear. We had 64 and 3. If you have a look at the crafting recipe, you see you get 32 per. So it's a pretty fair trade-off. So these are long range shears that we can use on sheep. Let's try it again. So from here, it launches it at the sheep, which is pretty cool. So does that mean if we were to go and aim at that one, it's not going to reach it? Hi, it did it again, look. But then what if I aim above? Is that going to land on it? Oh, wow, okay. So there can be some skill involved, right. That adds a dimension to the idea for this game that I've got. You could probably guess what we're going to do. We're going to make a face-off game, a 1v1, or maybe you could play it in pairs, where there's going to be sheep roaming around, and the idea is you've got to shear them with the ender shears, so you've got to launch these things at the sheep. Yes, we've definitely got to make range a part of this game, because it'll make it so much more interesting when you've also got to aim above. Like, that was a pretty accurate throw. I'm getting good at this already. Let's try another one. That one's probably about there. Excellent! Wow, okay. So yes, we want to have sheep in an arena that are going to be moved around, and the players have got to try and shear the sheep, right? And then we'll make it difficult by having range and speed that they move at will be another factor. In fact, the two of those combined could end up being very difficult. We'll have to see how this goes, but I know how we're going to start this one off. We're going to start by collecting some sheep, and I've done some experimenting. When you use this with Ender.io, it basically spawns them like it would in vanilla. That means that other colours can appear. So a way that we could do a point system is by giving white ones the value of 1, and then other colours a different value. Pink would be the rarest, you know, and so if you get a pink one, then you get lucky. And I think we can pick up a sheep that has been sheared. I guess we'll find out. I need 8 of these in total, because I was messing around in a creative world that I have, and I figured out that a spawn rate of about 4 per side was really good. Then you'd have loads of sheep roaming around. So I have made a dimension, and if I haven't mentioned it, this is something we did on a live stream. We organised all of our dimensions into these. If I hold down shift, you can also see the name of each dimension. So all of these are powered, and I've created a new one over here, which is the Hermitpack Games. So we got our own dimension for this, and it is a void world. I've decided that we should build in a void world again. I really like this idea of being able to create big open structures, and I'm hoping to do that around our sheep farm eventually. And I haven't stepped foot in the void world yet, so I have also prepared a few things to take through so that we can access our items on the other side. Still having trouble getting this stuff to work, by the way. It's a little bit hit and miss, and I believe I configured this to go to... Is it dimension 27? Yep, it doesn't have a name yet, so I must remember to rename that. We're going to drop in an activity probe so this doesn't drain energy when we're not inside of it. And check it out, we have yellow skies. We've also got some bone structures. That doesn't quite look like one, so let's drop that in the world. Let's rename this to Hermitpack Games. Excellent. And now we will go over here. That is just a bone structure, right? Yep, and then there's another one over there. I can see a little bit of coal in it. So this one has yellow skies and something else. I forget. I think it's like blue clouds, but I have blue clouds turned off. And that's quite interesting. There's a slime thing here. We'll leave that there for now. There's going to be a lot of slimes spawning on this thing, right? Because they're like the only mobs that can spawn in this dimension at the moment. This might be a good opportunity to make a slime farm. Maybe we'll actually save this dimension for that. Those yellow skies are kind of ugly, right? Yeah, we're going to use this one for a slime farm, which is a project I wanted to do. I was originally actually going to do that outside our base, but I think we'll do it in this dimension here. But one thing we've learned is that spiders can spawn up here. It's the only other hostile mob I'm yet to see spawn in this space. And I've seen quite a few of them as well, so it's a little bit strange that it's only spiders so far. And going away and coming back again. Look, a spider just spawned there. These ones are all fresh. And there's loads of slimes. So it would be a slime and spider spawn. That's just an interesting little thing, isn't it? You know, I wouldn't be surprised if it was only slimes here. Slimes and hostile mobs, wouldn't be surprised by that. But spiders and slimes, like, why is that a combo? So the server's TPS today looks pretty good. My connection seems to be a little bit ropey though. As I'm flying around here, I'm getting ping-ponged back and forth. This teleportation wand, it's kind of useless. That is better than it was a moment ago when I wasn't recording. Anyway, I think I found the spot. We're about 500 to 1,000 blocks away from our base, just sort of headed out in this direction, which is... And it always takes me a moment to spot it on the F3 screen. It's west. So we've come out west, and I like the way that we've got this hilly tree area right here, and there's a river surrounding the outside of it. So I think what I want to do is take down all the trees in this area, and maybe at some point we do terraforming or something like that, add the river back in going all the way around. But it's kind of its own island in amongst some other biomes. We've got the extreme hills, the roofed forest, and then over on this side the plains. And if ever we needed to expand this area, it kind of leads down onto the plains, and then you've got a big open area as well to work with. So we will build our game in this area over here, and of course the project is going to be open for other people to join us. And look at that, not just lots of space for me, but for the other hermits as well. It's going to be like an open area for anyone to come here and build a minigame if they wish to do so. And somewhere around here there was an owl, but I think he's wandered off. We saw the owls earlier in the season, they're very cute and adorable. They hang around on the top of trees, and at some point when chopping down these trees, I got myself an owl egg. This looks like one of those creative mode spawn eggs. Apparently you can get them in survival though, which is pretty cool. And I think we would be able to right click on a spawner with that and turn it into an owl spawner, which would be a cool little project to do. And there is something else I got in this area as well. Over here there was a fire that's been raging on for a while. Looks like it's actually gone out now because there's a little lava pool up in here in the hills. So that's been helping out with chopping down the trees. As you can see though, I haven't done everything yet. It's really taken some time to do that. And I did manage to find this. This is one of the first items I actually got, and you get them by chopping down trees. There are some glorious particle effects coming off of it as well. This is the golden log. It's from Hermit Quest, and this is the block you need to fight Rendog's boss mob. So if you wanted to do that, this is what you got to go hunting for. And the idea is that in the world, there's like a 1 in a million chance that a tree, like this one over here, will spawn with a golden log inside of it. So by chopping down this large area, we've earned ourselves one of those. It actually came from one of the first few trees that I chopped down, and I haven't got another one since. So whenever we want to get round to fighting Ren's boss, then we have the golden log to do so. The builder's wand, man. It's fantastic. This thing is a real game changer. I'm so glad I remembered to use that, because sometimes I can be a bit of a derp and forget. And that's not a bad sign at all, is it? Using a different font from what we've used before. This thing, by the way, I think it's 6 blocks across, so 7 blocks tall. And then I just put some cobblestone behind it. So the first thing I thought to build that out of was alabaster, which we have a fair amount of. And the background is made out of cobble because we have a lot of that. And the amount of resources is obviously going to be a big factor here. If we go look at the chisel, though, we don't really have a lot of options in the way of glowstone, because I was thinking we could replace that alabaster with some of these. Now this one is a connected texture, but the way it's done, I just think these are ugly. But then I was looking at them and I realised I think what they're trying to do is stick to the original glowstone over here, the way it looks. That one might not be so bad. Why don't we give that one a try? So now we get to use the amazing swapping wands. Oh, this is going to take no time at all, is it? I might not have enough glowstone to do a lot of this, but at least a couple of letters would be good. Actually, we're out. That doesn't look too bad, to be fair. It really doesn't, and it'll look great at night time. But I think the one that's probably going to look best out of all of these chisel textures is the one that I can't show you. And that is, of course, the neon right here. There's also a bordered neon as well, but I felt like that border would get in the way. And there it is. That looks fantastic. I'm happy with that. When I get time to, though, I would like to add more detail to this. This is the basics, just to get us started, just to make it, you know, obvious where you are. But I think there's just one more thing that I want to do to this logo. A little bit underwhelming. I was enjoying building that, then I flew backwards and went, oh, it's actually kind of ridiculously small. We'll probably come back to that another time. That's amused me greatly, actually, how small it is. This right here, I'd love to be emerald blocks, but we don't have enough of those. Otherwise, they're like the different vanilla ore blocks, which is really cool. May replace them with other colours at another time. I just wanted to get something down to begin with. And yes, they are the Olympic rings. And no, I'm not trying to make a pun on the Olympic Games. I'm not trying to set a tone here. I just felt like something else should go with that. And now that I say it out loud, it really doesn't need to be Olympic rings, does it? We're going to leave this thing here for now, but I do think it needs to be torn out, and I need to come up with something that better represents the Hermitpack Games, where all sorts of things can happen. Anyway, it's about time we actually started work on our sheep farm, and I'm looking for a location. I'm thinking I should have picked an area that is a fair bit flatter than this, so we're actually going to start off with some landscaping. I can't make up my mind. What's faster? The instant mine always feels faster. Look at this, just tearing out every block in sight. Yet with the hammer, we can do a massive area all at once. That probably is significantly faster, but you have to be a little bit organised with how you choose to dig. And then the excavator is kind of the same deal, right? Except it doesn't do such a large area. I think it's a mixture of both. You've got to know when to use which type. So I got to keep thinking modded. Things like this. Oh, so much easier. And how loud is that? Wow! It's making the sound of all of the blocks at once. I was going to try and do a tiny bit. Let's do this over here. Yeah, it's like it stacks the sound. It plays it several times over. And the end result is it's really loud. This is so much more useful because in vanilla, of course, what we would do is tear out that land and then manually place down over these blocks. But modded, this is so easy. So we're going to change the original idea here a little bit. What I wanted to do is base the amount of points you get based on the colour of wall that you receive, and I may still do that at some point, but for now I think I actually want to make it based on distance. So the further back that you shear the sheep, the more points you get, right? And I think this will work out well, because even though you're trying to aim at ones at the back, they will get easier as they come further forward. So imagine the sheep are going back and forth, and then it gets to a point where actually you're probably better off just taking the easy shots at the front. But if you keep up a good tally in the beginning, then you're in for a better game. So I think it mixes a bit of skill and strategy as well, and then the luck thing would come in when you have the different coloured walls. Now what we're going to do is use these slime conveyors to move them around. We'll end up using quite a lot of these, and this is literally going to float. I just realised that I probably started from the wrong side. We're going to have like a sheep room, and I thought it would be better to put it over here as opposed to on that side. So actually that would go in the other direction, then it would come across like this. The sheep are not going to be held in place by anything to begin with, but what we may end up doing is creating some sort of wall on either side, and what we'll probably use is chisel and bits so that we can make something very slim that's just slightly taller than a half slab, and then the sheep wouldn't be able to climb up on top of it. So that should be a reasonable solution to any problem that arises. If the sheep decide that they can wander off these slime conveyors, I think that's going to be part of the game, because I did some testing and they don't really move away from these things too much, so we should be good to keep them on the track for the most part of the game. And if they do fall off, then maybe what we'll do is put lava down the bottom and they'll get burnt, which is kind of cruel, but it's all for the mini game. Are you ready to have some fun? Let's turn this thing on. Bam! And nothing happens. We have to wait. It spawned quite a few, and I guess now it's starting all over again. I'm not sure what spawn rate I want to leave this thing on. It also might be a good idea to try and stagger them a little bit as well. And when I say spawn rate, I'm talking about the capacitors, because we can speed up spawning that way. So I've seen some funny stuff happen. You can see they're sort of sticking on these things, and occasionally one will whiz across at top speed, which looks hilarious. And you can kind of see what's going wrong here. It's because we just bumped you out of the way high. It needs to have that at the ends there. In fact, it probably needs like some blocks here as well to make it more accurate. And it also looks like this guy has caught himself against that hitbox. That's really fast. That's too fast, can I say. Why are they hurtling along at that speed? There they go. Whoa. Okay. But there they just love to whiz up all of a sudden. Maybe it has something to do with the falling velocity. Like it falls down and for some reason that makes it whiz across quicker, like there's no resistance. That's what it looks like's happening to me. It's the falling velocity, alright. I've been watching this. If a sheep falls sort of in this region, it will go straight down onto this thing and whiz all the way across, which is why we saw some super speed ones. If we go around to this side, notice how when they're in the air and falling down, they move a lot faster. And hopefully the server doesn't lag and make that difficult to see. There we go. Whizzes all the way around the corner, and it's not until it's standing on the block again that it's going to move a little bit slower. Yeah, these ones getting caught like this is causing some issues. I reckon we are absolutely going to have to invest in some chisel and bits here to make life a bit easier. There's also some different conveyor speeds available to us as well. The gold seems quite similar to this one. It's kind of hard to tell. The iron is definitely slower, and then down here there's the diamond, although I'm yet to see a sheep get down to the diamond with my testing. And so we could change the speeds at different parts of the courses, and I'm thinking the further back the slower will balance out the difficulty. If we made it faster nearer the back, it would probably be quite impossible. That looked really fast, didn't it? But we've got to change up the way we're doing things here. Maybe these iron conveyors would be better on the corner bits where they fall down, because we could avoid that problem that we're seeing where they whiz up really fast. And by the way, look around here. A lot of sheep. Maybe that's why we're having issues, because there's too many entities in the area. It's time to turn this thing off, and I think I'm going to have to change my diet. I'm going to have to go from toast to some cooked mutton. Oh dear. As cruel as this is, the shuriken helps out massively, just sort of aim in the general direction whilst holding down click. Eventually the server catches up. It's really weird the way it does that. Like 1 second, not much is happening, then all of your shurikens go out at once. And there we go. Doesn't take long to clean them up. Now the frame rate is a little bit choppy because of all those shurikens in the ground. Oh dear. Placing these chiseled bits is hard work. This is really tedious. You have to put a lot of concentration into where you're clicking because you're working with fine lines and small pixels. And these are our railings to keep the sheep on the inside. So this is just above a half slab, which should mean in theory that they would have to jump to go up above it rather than to... I could have put this just above a block, then there'd be no way for them to go above it. Anyway, we've sort of done it like that now. By the way, it's this chisel texture that we're using. And do you know what? I should probably do an accurate test somehow. I should find a way to properly test. Yeah, no, wait. I need a half slab, right? So we put a half slab there. You can see, look, it's just above where the half slab is, so they're not going to get nudged up the side of those blocks, and with them moving fast across here, it probably wouldn't be too much of a problem, would it? Well, I think we've managed to do the entire thing with just one block of glass, because these are all chiseled bits, and somewhere around here there was a little mini Enderman that I wanted to show you who's roaming about, but never mind, we can fire this thing up and give it a whirl now, which would be pretty cool to see what happens. Bam, there we go, tons of sheep all at once, and look at that, they are actually being held in and moving slow, but then again there's server lag. Now what's happening there, they're not dropping down straight away. That's kind of odd behaviour, but that looks pretty good. I'm starting to wonder now if it's a little bit slow at the back. The server lag thing is kind of irritating, but it keeps them in place, which is good. Oh, and then that one's managed to climb out of there, so I'm probably going to have to do this again with that just over one block. I mean, why didn't I think of that straight away? Here he is, shaking about, rattling his body. These guys look hilarious. Apparently they can be pretty tough if you aggravate them. I'm not sure if you do that by looking at them. I mean, we can always fly, right? Endermini, that's the name of this fella. What a strange looking chap. Should we try and kill it? I mean, I've always just let them be. Right, now he's teleported. He's taking damage. Stuck over there. Is he even going to get near to me? He's been poisoned. Hi. Come on, attack me. Where'd you go? Yeah, that didn't do a lot of damage, did it? He hasn't died yet, which is something to note. Alright, decided to use water streams because they don't whiz them all over here. I'm hoping they can get into a little bit of a line. And that's kind of unfortunate. Oh, and off you go. Right, we can't use those things there because they whiz them across. Of course, they're going to drop down onto it. But they're spaced out a little bit now. That's a nice thing to see, isn't it? And then they go around the first one. Why are you getting stuck there? I don't understand that. Why are you stuck? Maybe that would be a good opportunity to use the other type. I don't know. We've got to mess around with it a bit more. This is like a live test. I've literally just finished placing all of these and messing about with the water streams over there. And do you know what? I think the server is messing up. Yeah, 12 ticks per second, bit on the slow side. That's why these things keep freezing, which is unfortunate. But otherwise, we've got a little bit of a problem over here. Is this one different in any way? Like, why is it always that one? I've got a feeling it might be because there is like a chiseled block there or something. Let's get rid of these happy chappies for a second. Oh, yep, there's that sound. When I was chiseling with chisel and bits, I accidentally placed a block over here and I couldn't find it again. Maybe that's what's causing the problem. Can you see it just there? One little block. Boom, that should be the problem solved. You know what they say? Rome wasn't built in a day. I've got one more thing I want to add to this over here. We'll come back and do that in a bit. Right now I'd actually like to head back to our base. Got a couple of things over there to show you. And I had a little idea for a mini project. Just something we could do very quickly that I think would be really cool. So I really don't know where to put this contraption. For now I'm just going to squeeze it in this corner in this part of our base. So I had this idea earlier that we could automate the creation of red dye using bone meal. And we get to use some of the things that we learnt recently in doing so. In fact, before I place that, I probably want to put this one down. So I was making some slime conveyors, and I needed more red dye to make that stuff. And I had to use a rose bush, and that's when I thought, this would be really simple to automate. So this thing is going to right-click, isn't it? We can set it up to use item on block. That would be the one. Right-click, random slot, yep, all of that's good. And have it so that it's on when redstone comes into it. And then if we have a couple of blocks here, we can put a piece of redstone in that corner back there. Then here what we can use is a detector, which will hook up to the system. And when there isn't enough red dye, then it can give a redstone signal, tell it to make some more. So let's convert some of this into red dye. Chuck it in there. What would it be? Emit signal when on the amount. Alright, so if there is less than 64 red dye in the system, this thing is going to give some redstone, which will connect to the mechanical user. That being said, we would have to use redstone paste to make it turn the corner and actually connect. Right, and this thing here is called an exporter, and it's going to export from our system to this as an output. I'm not sure if it actually goes through that connection. It should get power for it, so we can tell it to export bone meal. And how much of it, I'm not sure. Is it putting bone meal in there? It appears to be doing so. And this should work when there is redstone on. Let's go for upper left only. It's not doing anything. Why is that? Okay, it's going to hit me if I stand in front of it. It does that rather inconsistently. This might be a TPS thing. So if we change this again to right click and use item on block, that should work, but nothing happens. Well, anyway, down here we can kill this creeper. We can use this system again. So in here we've got the recipe to turn our bones, which we've got tons and tons of them farmed. We can turn them into bone meal, and then we can just use this thing up here to say if there is, you know, not enough of this stuff in the system, then craft some more. So nothing works with this thing here. It's kind of a shame. The next step would be to just add a vacuum chest next to it to pick the items up, and then connect it to the system again. What's stopping that from working, I'm not sure, but what's cool is if we go over here and have a look at the amount of bones, it's going to keep 1,000 bone meal in at all times, and then it will keep a stack of red dye as well, which is pretty cool. We could set these up for a few of the other ones as well. Nice little system, but I feel like you all know what's wrong with this, and I've missed something that's really obvious, and I'm being a bit silly. But yeah, I've tried tons of stuff, and it's just not working. So there was another thing I wanted to show you. This took me a lot of time in a live stream to figure out. There are so many finicky little nuances with blocks and ways that things work that you've got to figure out. But what we have here is a spawner set to capture mode. That means instead of spawning them in the world around you, it's going to get them to go inside of a soul vial. And this is set up to have been automated. So here you can see it's asking for 13 Enderman vials. If we open this up and type in, actually no, we've got to type in soul vial, we'll see that we got 23 in total. If we take all of those out, this thing should kick into gear. There it goes, and it starts making more of these. So it's going to create soul vials with Enderman inside. But we don't want to do that right now, so I'm actually going to put those ones back, and that'll turn the machine off again. But it's pretty cool. It uses this to detect how many's in there. Then below it we have, I believe, is it just the exporter? No, the importer, which exports the items from there. It's really weird how that works. You can sort of swap those around. This is the block that was interesting, the interface. It's both an importer and an exporter, and if you want to access the items that are there, you need to do so from underneath. So we are exporting soul vials into the system, so that there's always a fair amount for it, and then when we demand that there's more Enderman soul vials that we need, then we can create them. And the idea was to automate some of the recipes that are made with these things, but I didn't get that far. We got that bit to work, but then it started to get a little bit complicated. Actually, that is not true. The Ender Crystal, let's craft 10 of them, why not? Ah, look, it uses the Enderman soul vial, right. And it's going to create it in this machine here. No, sorry, the one next to it. Yep, look, the head starts turning. Right, now that can be automated, so when we run out of those in the system, this thing kicks into gear thanks to the little machinery that we set up here. So some things are better not rushed, and I thought what I wanted to do is put down some carpets on each of these floors. Maybe I should have picked the colours a little bit better. And I also wanted to put a big old sheep's head at the end of this. And earlier what I also did, by the way, is I adjusted the width for this. It was 13 blocks across, and I changed it to 12 so that that little derpy sheep's head could sit up there nice and easy. That's hardened clay, by the way, in between. And I'm aware that there is a mod that allows you to pick bland colours, basically ones without textures, and many different colours, and we could do a very accurate face of the sheep here, which is what I would like to do. So let's call that one a placeholder because it looks kind of ridiculous. And these carpets as well might get changed up. But the project's coming along. I really thought this would be a simple, straightforward, get it done in one episode kind of job, but it's become very clear to me that it's a time-consuming process, which is what many things in modded are. So we'll be back here again working on it before long. Anyway, that is it from me this episode. I'm pressing the wrong buttons on my keyboard. If you have enjoyed it, please leave a like. As always, thank you for your support, and I will see you in the next one. Ciao for now, bye-bye.